I'm James Frere. I'm here with Ben from Turning Point USA. Turning Point USA, a lot of people may have not heard about until just recently on the 10th of September. And it's really a sad story from the founder of Turning Point USA. And Ben, tell me how you're involved with it and what Turning Point USA is really about.
Yeah, I'd love to. So obviously, my name is Ben. I am a sophomore at Illinois State University. So I run the chapter there. We do a lot of things on campus. First off, we are political based. We're kind of the activism side of the conservative movement. Instead of dealing with candidates, we deal more with the conservative ideals and engaging that with our fellow students on campus. And I'd argue many people need their eyes open to other political opinions, because sometimes people are very close-minded. They only read the news and everything, and we really have to expand that. That's kind of our big goal. I always tell people, if I can't get you to join our chapter, at least I can encourage you to be more involved, to know why you support certain things. If you're a liberal, I don't care. You know what? That's our free country. You can do whatever you want. You can say whatever you want, but be informed. And Turning Point does that. We do tables around our university. We sometimes do debate questions like, do you love America? And stuff like that. Like, what do you think of freedom of speech? What country is the best country on earth? And stuff like that. We do a bunch of social events. We're doing a bowling event of our chapter, a little movie night. We host big events. We're also hosting Alex Stein. He's a political comedian on October 20th. We're looking forward to that. We do fun. We try to make politics fun as well, because you watch C-SPAN for an hour, you might fall asleep. I get it. I love politics. Not everyone can sit through that like me. We try to make politics fun and engaging for all our members to at least feel comfortable about expressing their ideas, even if they're a little different. At the end of the day, we can come together and have a great time.
Now, I'm going to ask you what you didn't bring up, the founder of Turning Point. I'm going to let you tell who's watching it. Who was the founder of Turning Point?
Founder of Turning Point? It's the man himself, Charlie Kirk. I'd say, at the time of his assassination, the biggest political figure in this country and maybe future president. He founded Turning Point in 2012, started his adventure into politics and onto college campuses by just sitting at a table and say, hey, let's talk. And by doing that over the years, he's grown to over 700 college chapters, over 1,000 high school chapters, and maybe thousands more after what happened to him. There's been over 25,000 requests for people to make chapters and everything, which is absolutely incredible. People want to get involved. But Charlie talked to anybody. He preferred if you were, very hardcore leftist, liberal, because he wanted to say, hey, let's talk about it. Let's go to a college campus, which primarily, as you've seen kind of over the last few years, is not really a friendly place for conservative ideals. Now, I'd say over 90% of college campuses are like that. But that's kind of been a big shift, especially of Turning Point. Because they've been going to college campus and saying, hey, why do you feel this way? Well, my professor says this, but is this really true? And he engages the people and does something that really I don't see from anyone else, is that going to hostile environments and just talking. We need more discussion. And Charlie really brought that to this discussion. He was so influential. His words, affected millions of students, and they're going to affect millions more. And I'm really tragic. He was killed at Utah Valley. Our chapter was absolutely devastated. I was devastated. Someone who people looked up to get into politics, me especially. But I'm hoping under his wife, Erica Kirk, very strong woman, spoke 2 days after his killing, which I don't think anyone could do. Someone like her is going to keep pushing forward and making this organization the best it could be. And I think we could do so much more, especially if so many motivated people getting into politics.
Now, what do you think the percentage of the college students are that was behind Charlie Kirk, or at least wasn't really against him? Just a rough idea.
Yeah, my vice president described it in one way. We kind of have 25% are liberal, 20% are conservative, and the rest just don't care. That's kind of the big thing. People just don't care. People have their opinions, they'll talk about it on social media and everything, but they really don't do anything. They don't vote. I mean, I forget the number on it, but a lot of people just didn't vote in this election. One of our points is vote local, vote in your elections, get out there, get involved and everything. And we hosted actually Charlie Kirk on April 8th, and that was one of the best moments in my life, honestly. Hosting that big of a speaker. I mean, I got a call during my winter break, and they're like, Charlie's coming to ISU. I'm like, are you serious? Charlie Kirk? My school? He knows we exist. So it was absolutely incredible having him there. I mean, seeing him unfiltered, talking about obviously a lot of, he's a very, very faithful man. Talking about, like marijuana, like stuff that has to deal with our state. And just talking about generally, conservative ideals, and that it it's a lot. I can say a lot of things, but I want to keep it I don't want to keep it too long, but just seeing him in person, and we'd have over 2,000 people come to our event, even more, I'd argue. There's photos I can always show anyone, like our full little plaza in front of our student center, completely filled up. People were in the library watching it, people were all the way circling around. Like, the turnout was absolutely incredible. And when people saw Charlie, it really did a massive shift in our campus. People are looking to join us. Our followers doubled, and after, unfortunately, Charlie's assassination, our social media has over tripled. And it's just, people are asking me, how do I get involved? How do I do this? So that really tells you that Charlie's impact, and especially after he was killed, people are like, wow, I have to get involved now. People from high schools, from colleges, people in the community say, hey, how can I donate? We've set a GoFundMe. It's like, hey, if you want to donate to us, we'd love that. We want to support our students going to these national events. That's the biggest thing we want to do. AmFest, stuff like that. Turning Point hosts all these large national events. You meet people across the country. So people are asked to donate. People are asking, hey, how do I get involved? I'm in college. I'm like, join Turning Point Action. There's, obviously, in terms of across the aisle, the GOP and stuff like that, and conservative politicians, stuff like that. People have a lot of things on the other side of the aisle in terms of politics and stuff, but get involved. I thought we can help people get involved. I will help you get involved. I will tell you who to get involved with. I know the high school people. I know the college chapter leaders and the reps for that. I'll help set a chapter no matter what. I don't care if you're not from my school. I've helped out at least 10 people start chapters. It's been quite incredible.
And how can they get in touch with your chapter at Turning Point?
Yeah, so for our specific chapter, we have an Instagram, TPUSA ISU, and then TPUSA ISU. That's on TikTok. We just created one today. Also on Facebook. So we might expand it in the other social medias, but we're mainly on Instagram, but we want to expand to Facebook, get people in our community. I know young people might not use Facebook as much, but still getting people in the community for our massive events. And then TikTok, where the young people are at. That's where Charlie really thrived, is talking to people on TikTok. So reach out to us there. We'd love to talk to you. Tell us how you can get involved in McLean County, at our college. Maybe if you're in high school, we'd love to point you in the right direction. And we're here for you. As Erica Kirk said, in her speech, is that there's no reason not to get involved. There's so many ways to get involved. You just have to take that first step. And that's the hardest part.
Now, has ISU planned a vigil?
Yeah, we hosted one. I believe the assassination was on Tuesday, right? Or was it Wednesday? Let's see.
On the 10th?
Either way, on that Thursday, we hosted a vigil for Charlie Kirk. Sort of a last-minute thing. Of course, we weren't planning this. No one was planning this. But we hosted a vigil in front of our flagpole in the quad. Had over 100 people attend that event. I mean, absolutely incredible, beautiful. It was going to be like a 30-minute thing. It turned into 2 hours. People spoke. Local priests came in, did some guitar, and it was really something beautiful. I was so happy to get the community involved, and it gives me a lot of hope that Turning Point does more community events, that we can get people behind their back, either to donate to us, to come to our event. There's so many opportunities that really opened up that within 5 hours I can get 100 people to come to the event. That's crazy. I mean, people didn't have to show up, but they did for Charlie. And I'm happy to have them behind my back. And people said, yeah, do this more. Let's engage the community more. So we're going to figure that out, 100%.
Well, it's great to see a young mind like you and in college and doing the work you're doing and trying to help spread the word that, even though you don't vote, or maybe we can change people's minds to vote and get involved now that this has happened, because it affects everybody.
Yeah. It's Turning Point, we deal more with the idea over the candidates. We leave that to the college Republicans. That's their job, and they're pretty good at that job. But like I say, I'm not trying to change your opinion, but I'm trying to say, hey, let's be informed about it. Let's talk about it. Because people don't talk about it. And when Charlie Kirk said, if we don't talk, right, that's what we call civil war. And people, you saw with Charlie, they didn't want to talk. They said, I'm going to shoot him. I'm not going to debate. I'm going to shoot him. And it's just, that's what happened when we don't discuss it. And people realize that, we need more discussions in this country. And like I said, 25,000 people have reached out to our chapter. So I think we're going to see a massive shift. We're going to see a big turning point in our country.
Great. Well, it's really great. I'm glad you're involved. And thank you for being here at the Young Republican group here in
Of course, thank you. You invited us. We're happy to be along for the ride. You invite us, we invite you.
I just came because I'm the press.
I know. I think it makes Republicans, of course. I wouldn't be able to be here. So.
I appreciate it, and thank you for all the hard work you're doing. Keep your heart in it. God bless you.
Thank you.